Today we have something I've never heard of, Pfitzer Juniper. This comes to us from my good buddy Dave at Calmwood Creations. Having a hard time figuring out how to mount this. I just don't know. I just don't know. It's got one major problem, but look at that. Oh my gosh. Look at the color in there. Pfitzer Juniper. You ever heard of that? Not me. Let's take a closer look at it. The piece is about 7.5 by 7.5. Oh, good Lord, look at that color and pattern to the grain. Some pretty nice color in there. But the major problem's right there. I want to turn it just like this. I want this to be the top and that to be the bottom. I've been studying it and looking at it and figuring out, well, maybe I can make that the top, and then when I make my bowl in there, we'll lose that void, but it's just not quite right for that. It's too narrow this way. This would get turned away, so it really would end up being about like that. And it's just too narrow to turn it that way. So with that as the bottom, we're probably going to have a hole in the side of our bowl, but then I think it'll close up and the bowl will go down into this on the bottom, so it'll be like a gap in here. I think it'll be okay. I'll keep figuring it out, and then eventually I'm going to take it over to the drill press and drill a hole in the middle if indeed this turns out to be the top. Drill a flat spot here for my chuck jaws to set against. In the middle of that I'll drill a hole for my woodworm screw and we'll get it mounted up. I don't know. Wish me luck. I know I sound unsure about this piece, but that's only because I am. I am using Tuffy's chuck extension. Chucky, maybe I'll call him Chucky. Tuffy's chuck extension, so that I didn't have to drill a really big hole up here, and that's working out pretty well. I don't mind a hole or a void in the side of the bowl. I don't mind that at all, but I don't want one in the bottom. We're going to be turning at 560 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask, and face shield on. Dave did mention that this smells like pencil sharpener and the way that wood smells after the pencil's been freshly sharpened, and he's right on the money. That's exactly what it smells like. Still lots of nature in there. Alright, now we'll come back down to the bottom, come up a little higher, trying to find a spot for the tenon. Oh, this is going to be beautiful. Just beautiful. Checking inside my void. Well, we're still okay. As long as we're here, I'm going to go ahead and mark out for the tenon. I know I don't have a whole one, but you know, that's actually enough for me. Yeah, I do. I even have a whole tenon. What do you know? I've raised my tool rest, and now I want to use this diamond point tool to square up the sides of the tenon. And that's good. I don't need quite this wide of a base, and I'm not done with the side profile anyway. So I'm going to come back over here and do a little more work and thin down that base. Yeah, that looks better, huh? Well, the rest of it looks pretty good. I'm going to try my negative rake scraper on here, clean my cuts up a bit. Well, that's all it needed. I don't see anything else I can do to improve it. It's going to be pretty spectacular. I can't wait to get some finish on here. That's it. Time for sanding. I'm going to start the sanding with my Sandoflex. This is 120 grit. I'll use that, and then I'll use 180 grit, and that's as fine as I'll go. And I'm going to sand all of the inclusions and unturned parts, including along the top as far as I can reach. Some places I'll have to use this brush, especially in this big void that I showed you at the beginning. That won't reach down in there, so I'll be using this brass brush, maybe a little bit in here too. When I'm done with that, I will switch to my 2-inch disc starting at 80 grit and working up through 400. I'll have the lathe spinning in reverse at 350 RPM, and then I'll alternate between forward and reverse. And I'll show you what all that looks like as soon as I get my mask on. And I'll be doing a whole lot more of that, but that's what it looks like. And then, like I said, in forward as well. So that's going to take me a little while. I'll bring you back here in a bit and we'll put some sanding sealer on there. See you in a bit. Well, I bet this is going to be remarkable. Isn't it? Isn't it? Wowee. Pfitzer Juniper. I hope I'm saying that right. Dave and I exchanged texts and he spelled it out for me, but of course I can't hear him pronounce it. P-F I-T-Z-E-R, Pfitzer. And of course this makes me want to see what pencils are made out of, because this does have a distinct freshly sharpened pencil smell. It's going to take a lot of brushing, and this is a sanding sealer, shellac based sanding sealer. I will apply 2 coats of this, although I don't think it needs it. It's super smooth. Anyway, 2 coats of this, 2 coats of shellac. Okay, that's about all you can see. I'll be up this way now, so I'll bring you back when it's time to start working on the inside, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope it's at least as beautiful as this is on the outside. See you in a bit. I have the piece turned around with the tenon mounted up in the chuck. I considered drilling this out rather than turning, because I'm going to run out of room in a hurry, because the tailstock will be in the way of my tool. But I can do some. Hopefully I can do most of it. That's going to be, this is going to be really bouncy, because we're only going to hit here, and then we're going to hit over here, and then we're going to miss, and then we'll miss this for a while. Eventually we'll get to it. So I didn't want to stress that tenon any more than I have to, so that's why I considered drilling it. But I am going to go ahead, as long as we have tailstock support. I'm going to turn as much as I feel like I can. Might end up drilling from there, or maybe I'll be able to work it out. I just need to get past the bouncy part. Okay, that's a whole lot, isn't it? So we're going to be turning at 600 RPM, 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask and face shield on. I'm just about to where I can't deal with the tailstock anymore. Yeah, see, I can come out further, but I can't do it with the tailstock there. I could if I switched to carbide. I'm going to switch to this carbide hollowing tool. That allows me to go straight in instead of needing an angle like this. Now I can just go straight. But I need to raise my tool rest a little bit for that. I didn't get this small enough to break off with my hand, but it's probably going to go flying as soon as I touch it here with a chisel. Just so you know, don't jump. Now we can get in there. Wanted to try and smooth out my cuts here, and that worked. This is quite torn up, as is this over here. But we'll take care of all that. I'll probably take a razor blade and cut these off here pretty soon. Well, I could probably do it now, because I'm about done turning up here. I don't like them sticking out because they tend to run on you. Just keep coming over this way. That one's okay because it's enclosed. Yeah, that's as far as we can go there. There's a big hole right here. It goes in deeper than this is going. I don't remember that being on the bottom. Well, it's not. It's not on the bottom, but it's dang close. It looks like it goes another 1/4 inch. Oh man, it might be inside the tenon, huh? Yeah, it probably is. It's inside the tenon. Oh gosh. You see that hole? It goes, I think it goes right inside the tenon. We might end up with a hole in the bottom anyway. Well, that looks awful in the bottom of our bowl, even though it doesn't go through yet. I'm gonna try my negative rake scraper in here. What do you think? See, that goes way in there, doesn't it? Well, that's just what Mother Nature hid inside the bowl for us. That's our grand prize. Time for sanding. Okay, we'll put it to a vote. Don't start yelling now. Your vote is a yes or a no. So I want to hear all the yeses first. Don't yell no. You'll get your chance. All the yeses. Should I fill this with the wood chips from this piece of wood? Okay, everybody that's a yes, yell yes, yes, yes. All right, I hear you. Okay, that's enough. How about the nose? No, Phil, leave it. No. How many no's? I don't hear any no's. Wow. Okay. There's Larry over there. No. Sorry, Larry. The yeses have it. All right, I will fill it. One caveat. The reason I don't fill things like this or cracks most of the time, well, because I like nature for one thing. That's just the way it is. It's just nature. But it also always ends up looking like a filled crack, you know? It's gonna look like particle board in there. A whole bunch of little tiny wood chips and glue. That's what it's going to look like. It's not going to look like nice grain. It's not going to look like this. I wish it would. Not going to happen. It's just going to look like particle board. So you still a yes? Yes? Oh, okay. I'll fill it. So here's the tools of the trade. I've got my CA glue. I've got my wood chips. I've got my coffee grinder that's going to grind up those wood chips, and we have the bowl. Now, of course, you wonder how I got the wood chips. I've shown this before. I don't like to show off, but sometimes people ask me about what kind of dust collector I have, and like I said, I don't like to show off. It's the deluxe two-piece edition. It's got the collector, and then it's got the remote control. This is the collector, and this is the remote control. And it just takes a sweep of the hand to collect up all those wood chips. It's very simple, it's quiet, it's effective. So there's my dust collector. And then the way the coffee grinder works, you just take this little cup that comes with it and pick up your wood chips and put them in the coffee grinder. I don't know how full you can get this thing. This was my wife's coffee grinder. I never really used it much. So I'll just be doing that for a little while, and then we'll come back and fill that hole in the bottom. But it's not going to look good, just remember I told you that. Now I'll just take some of these ground up wood chips. Whoa, that's a lot, Phil. That was too much actually. And just pack it in there real good. And then we'll just put some CA on it. And I'll let that set up for a bit. Fill in some more CA, probably 2 more times. And then it'll be time to put it back on the lathe and try and do away with some of the mess that's going to leave. So I'll see you back here at the lathe. There you have it, particle board. Time for sanding. I'm starting at 80 grit with my 2-inch disc, working up through 400. I've got the lathe spinning forward at 420 RPM. I'll bring it back here in a little bit and we will put some sanding sealer on there. See you in a bit. Still going to look like particle board though. I got a great finish on the outside. I hope the inside matches it. I don't think it will. There's a lot of degraded wood in here. I probably have seen this before, but not often, and it's kind of shocking to turn into something and find rotten voids and stuff. But we'll make the most of it, that's for sure. There's another spot that I could have filled right here. I didn't for 2 reasons. One, it goes all the way through. I don't know if you can see light through here, but I can. When I look up close here and look through, I can see light. So I've tried to fill those before, and the only thing I can think of, maybe you can think of something better, is put tape on the outside so that when I fill it and put CA in there, the CA doesn't run all over the outside. Well, the problem is CA is probably thinner than water, and it's gonna get through, and then it makes the tape stick to the outside, and then you have a real mess to deal with. So that's probably the main reason. The other reason is I wanted you to see the difference between filled and not filled. And to me, this not filled looks way, way better. It's natural. It's just the way the wood is. But I filled it because that was the popular vote. I'm not holding a grudge, don't worry. It's okay. And maybe I'm just wrong, or maybe I'm just the only guy with that opinion, thinking that looks better than that. And that's okay too. Okay, so this is the first of 2 coats of sanding sealer, and then 2 coats of shellac, same as the outside. And then I'll bring you back and we will remove the tenon. Oh boy. I don't know how we're gonna do that. Like I said, that hole is right, it's gotta go right into that tenon. I don't know what else it could possibly be. That might get a little exciting. We'll find out. See you in a bit. I've mounted a block of wood up in my chuck. It does have a non-slip surface, but I'm gonna add another one. And bring up my bowl and bring up the tailstock. I still have that center hole there for reference, so I could just drive my live center into that. Apply a little pressure, bring up my tool rest. Now I'm going to have to be really careful here, and I do not intend to remove the entire tenon, only as much as I have to in order to get rid of that hole in the middle and maybe a little cleaning up of the jaw marks, and that's about it. Because remember, we've got remember my patch on the inside, I'm sure that comes down into this tenon. Spin the piece up and see if it's running true. Seems to be right on the money. Turn the speed up to about 550. I'm going to use a 3/8 inch bowl gouge and commence to removing that tenon. I think that probably should do it. That looks good. I know that I have clearance already. Someone asked me about clearance. What am I checking for when I check clearance? When I put my bowl gouge across here, I'm looking for a gap between the bowl gouge and the remainder of the tenon. As long as I have that, then I know that this is higher that way than this is. And so it's not going to rest on that, it's only going to rest on this, and that's what we want. So that's about as small as I want to go with that tool, and I think I've removed enough of it, so I'm going to switch to a swept back bowl gouge so that I can get in there closer. And I'm going to adjust my tool rest a little bit higher and a little bit closer. And just keep on moving. Just hope I don't hit a hollow spot here. Well, wouldn't you know, I stopped it for a minute so that I could look, and I turned the camera off and forgot to turn it back on. I got it removed, so I'm going to take this over here to the workbench, sand that up, sign it, get it finished, and I'll be right back. Be sure you stick around to the end of the video so you can see the before and after shots of this piece. If you'd share the video, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Well, here it is. One Pfitzer Juniper Natural Edge bowl in the books. What do you think? This was a challenge, no doubt about it. And I'm sure the before and after shots are going to show just quite what a challenge it was. Just lots of, this is that point I had to be careful of. Goes way back in there, way down in there. So that's why this is about 1/8 of an inch thick right here where that hole is on the outside. And that's why we have kind of a thick piece. But I think it looks good thick like that, my personal self. Lots to see. Look at that color. Look at the color. Ooh-wee. Amazing. Juniper, I'm sure that's a member of the cedar family. Red cedar specifically. What do you think of the patch? I'm not going to say anything about it. Are you sorry you told me yes? Are you? Come on, be honest. Does this unpatched part look better? Right here? Does that look better than the patched part? You decide. I'm happy. I'm happy with it. On the bottom, all finished up. I'm even happy with that. There is a hole right there. You can see that's not my center hole. That's a hole from the void. If you look here, it's hollow inside there, except for my patch, which you can see just a tiny bit of here. Just a tiny bit of the patch right there in the line. So we got kind of lucky on that part, and that's even more reason to feel good about it. Let me know what you think. Thank you, Dave, for sending this along for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I put out regular videos about one a week, and I'd like to keep in touch. An easy way to subscribe is just click my picture you see there near the end of the video. Your comments are always welcome, and I love reading them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.